Hey, it's Joe here. I'm the creator of Scenic Res, and this is my workstation before the upgrades. As you can see here, it's a dual RTX 4090 setup. This one's liquid cooled, the bottom one is air cooled, and everything's powered by a 1600 watt PSU. I will be upgrading this bottom air cooled RTX 4090 with an air cooled RTX 5090. And I will be switching out this 1600 watt PSU with a dual PSU setup because this case supports up to 3 PSUs. Now, as far as disclaimers go before we get into the build process, basically just because this works for me doesn't mean it'll work for you, and use your best judgment. Now, with all that said, let's get into the build. All right, here we go. We're gonna unbox the power supply. This is power supply 1 of 2. Got all our fancy cables in here. Let's see. Got these specialty ones here. We have these other ones. We're gonna have these L-shaped ones here. And these are where we're going to plug into the GPU, and it's nice that they have this little temperature sensor here, which will detect if this part is getting too hot, and it shuts down the system before this starts to melt, which is really nice. Okay, so now let's get a look at this GPU here. Let's open it up. So let's open it this way. What is this? This isn't Jesus. Yeah. Oh my God, it's a toaster. Quite big. Okay, so here's the case. I'm gonna take the panel off. We have these hard drive bays that can be removed, so we're gonna remove this one, and I'm gonna remove this current power supply in here. I'm gonna switch it out with a lower power one. So I'm gonna take this panel off. Panel's out. I'm going to remove this hard drive bay. So now that I unscrewed all this, I can start taking things out. So this is ready to go. Take this out. Put in this other power supply. Okay. All right, so now we gotta get these wires bent in a 90-degree angle. And the way we're gonna do it is with this right here. Now I just need to unplug this and remember where everything went and not screw it up. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna grab them as a whole and pull them out. If they will come out. There we go. It's out. And then now that they're all together, I can just put them in on this. Okay, come on. Come on, buddy. Come on. There we go. There we go. Now that they're all plugged in, pop that through a little bit. Now hopefully I can lay the graphics card flush with these things in here like this. So that's one. So get out of there. Good. It's in there. Okay, HD audio is unplugged. Okay, so now that all the connectors are out the way, I'm going to go ahead and insert the graphics card. I'm going to do a little test run, see if the extenders need to be shortened. Seems like they need to be shortened by a few millimeters. Slide it back and forth. And that's how I filed down the connector to basically shave off 2 to 3 millimeters just so it'll fit better with the graphics card rest against the back of this. As you can see here, I have those L-shaped connectors that are plugged into the motherboard, and with those connectors it allows me to plug in the USB and system connector. I wrapped those connectors with electrical tape just because they were quite loose in those connectors. There's definitely no clicks or anything to hold them in place, so I wrapped them with electrical tape just so they don't slide out and I don't have to worry about that. You can see those L-shaped connectors allow the 5090 to sit right on the edge of the connector there. If I come around here, you can see how well it sits on there. Here's an example of the cable management. Looks pretty good. Okay, here's the completed system. And as you can see here, we got the 5090 installed nice and easy. Down below, we have these two intake fans to help cool that 5090. We have our side intake fans to help cool the entire system. And this fan right here is an intake to help basically keep all the air from escaping out and exhausting out and choking off the CPU. So this one, it helps pull in air to get to the CPU and keep the CPU nice and cool. And all other fans are basically exhaust, such as this one, and these two top mounted radiator fans to the 4090. Right here, this is an interesting connector here because this is how I'm able to power both power supplies. Basically, this thing goes into the motherboard, this thing goes into the PSU that's going to power the motherboard, and this one here goes into the secondary power supply. And the secondary power supply, such as this cable here and this cable here, that is only connected to these two graphics cards, and all other components are powered by the other power supply. And I use this cable here to basically turn on both power supplies at the same time. Let's turn the system on and see how it goes. Oh, the power's on. Now that we got the system rolling, let's go ahead and do an octane bench. See how hot things get. I went ahead and took off the top panel because since it's going to be rendering, I want to have maximum airflow. I still have the filter on for the intake, and the outtake is just free and open because I feel like this case, the panel's a little restrictive. Okay, let's do a quick temperature check of the 4090 liquid. We're at 110, 117, so probably getting around 120 on there. Okay, let's see how much power everything's pulling. So I'm gonna hit display. So this one is plugged into the GPUs. GPUs are pulling 872 watts. And the system and CPU is pulling 225. So these two values together is how much the system will pull. There's only mainly a load on the GPU. There is not a load on the CPU as much, but it's still being utilized. Here are all the thermals for the system while the benchmark's running. For those of you still watching, thanks, and I'll see you next time.